Okay, so some of what I'm gonna say you've already heard from Dominic, and other people like to do the box in different ways, right? They like to teach the box in different ways, implement the box in their training programs in different ways. This is just kind of how I like to implement it into my training program. And so there's an ebb and flow to it, right? And so don't try to read too far ahead, just kind of follow me as I go. We'll move really quickly. It's not complicated. It is a systematic process, but it's not complicated at all. So we start with the introduction. Again, different people introduce the box in different ways. I like to use a self-discovery program, direct reward system, right, to introduce the box. And what that looks like is very, very simple. So the dog walks in the room, and like all dogs do, if there's something new, they're gonna notice it, right? And some dogs, if you move a chair and they walk in the room, the first thing they notice is the chair's moved. Well, you're gonna have your box in your room or outside, wherever it is, it doesn't matter. Typically, we like to use a low distraction environment because we don't want any pressure in the beginning. The box itself is something new, and for a lot of dogs, that's pressure of itself. So what we like to do is just have some kibble in the box, right? And so the dog comes into the room, they look in the box, they see food, boom. Now they go into behavior. We want their head to be in the box, and they're doing it because the kibble's in there, right? So that's direct reward, right? The dog goes into behavior, into the box, because there's food in the box. They don't know it's a behavior. They're just going after the reward. So it's a direct reward system. The dog is not really thinking about behavior. It's not a behavior to the dog. It's just, I want the food's in the box, so I'm sticking my head in the box. Yeah, so you see here, there's food in the box already, but the dog is a little just excited. So we're gonna just drop some food in the box just to kind of show him, right? It doesn't have to look pretty at first. It won't look pretty at first. So then very quickly, we move to step number 2, which is the indirect system. And this is where the dog starts to anticipate more food coming, because eating the last piece means that more food comes. And so what I mean by that is the dog's got their head in the box, and right when they're about to eat the last few pieces, I just drop more in, right? And so again, they're eating, right when they're about to eat the last few pieces, I drop more in. And so what happens is the dog starts to anticipate that, hey, I'm about to eat the last few pieces and more food comes. Every time, about to eat the last few pieces, boom, more food comes. And this is also how we start to build our beginning stages of duration in the box, right? Because the dog starts to eat the last few pieces, and we drop more in. Now, as the dog starts to eat the last few pieces, we wait just a second, and boom, drop more in. And then we just kind of approximate it, right? And build a little more time into it, a little more time into it. And so the dog starts to eat the last few pieces, the dog eats the last piece. We give them just a second or a second and a half, and we drop more in, right? And so what we want to do is build up a time gap, right, between the dog eating the last few pieces of food in the box and when we're going to drop food in, up to at least about 3 seconds, right? I wouldn't really expect too much more than that, because we'll move on to the next steps before then, right? So the dog's eating the last few pieces, again, out of the box. I know I'm being a little bit redundant, but I want you to understand. Dog's eating the last few pieces out of the box. The last piece is gone. We're waiting a couple seconds, and then boom, we drop food in. We want the dog to know that as long as they keep their head in the box, there's a hope of more food coming, right? So you'll see a little shuffle when he's finished eating and he's anticipating more food coming. Right there. So I call it the dopamine shuffle. Right there. You'll see it again. Right there. And again, just a little shuffle. Right there. And then with Ace. Right there.